Imagine a time when we were all so agonizingly far apart. Getting a simple message meant waiting months on these brutally slow ships. But then, scientists stumbled onto a totally wild secret hanging right in the air. The space all around us is actually packed with invisible waves, moving exactly like ripples in a pond. You can't see them, but they are just floating everywhere, all the time. This brilliant guy named Hertz was the one who actually proved this invisible energy was real. He did it with just this tiny, jumping spark, which naturally got Tesla thinking, so he built these massive, buzzing coils to send signals all the way across a room. And before you know it, Marconi borrowed those exact same ideas and managed to make a bell ring from completely far away. The invisible spark, overcoming the silence of the sea. Sure, telegraph wires were already doing the heavy lifting on land, but the ocean? Man, it was this wildly lonely, deeply silent place. Ships were completely cut off out there, desperately needing a way to talk back to the shore. Marconi completely ignored all the stuffy adults who swore it couldn't be done. He tuned up that invisible spark machine to send simple beeps completely over a huge hill. He totally defied the people who thought a straight signal would just fly right off the round Earth and into space. Just picture this. Marconi is standing by a giant antenna on a freezing, windy hill. He's leaning in, straining to hear his special earpiece, and suddenly, there it is. 3 faint clicks. The letter S had officially arrived, crossing the entire deep ocean. You can imagine what pure magic this was for lonely sailors. Ships immediately started hooking up these spark machines, making ocean travel infinitely safer, especially on that terrible night when the Titanic hit thick ice in the cold dark. A brave man's signal went out, and those invisible waves ended up saving so many lives.
Voices across the ocean, the end of secret codes. People were getting seriously burned out on rigid beeps and secret codes. We were craving real, human voices, which sets the stage perfectly for a guy named Fessenden, who tried an absolutely crazy holiday experiment.
It was basically a Christmas miracle out on the cold waves. Sailors drifting in the freezing dark were suddenly hit with the gorgeous sound of a man playing a violin right in their ears. It completely transformed a rigid world of beeps into this warm world of incredible sound. Early on, it was pretty rough, to be fair. You dealt with ear-crushing static, and you had to wear these extremely tight headphones just for a single person to hear anything. But then DeForest came along with a brilliant little glass tube. It made weak signals gorgeously clear, meaning pure sound could just pour out from a wooden box for the whole family to enjoy. The world shrinks. Catching the signal? To get that incredibly clear sound out there, builders started throwing up these massive metal towers to blast music in a giant circle. Suddenly, anyone with a receiver could catch the signals, officially kicking off the era of real radio stations. Nighttime completely changed. Instead of sitting alone reading in separate rooms, families started gathering around the glowing dial like a warm fireplace. You were getting instant news. And yeah, sitting through soap commercials, but those actually paid for all the free tunes. It was just wild, a president's voice entering millions of homes, calming a scared nation during incredibly dark wars. Crooners started singing softly into gentle microphones, totally changing the vibe of music. Farm boys were suddenly hearing city jazz, and city girls got country guitars. Everything just mixed together beautifully. Music in your pocket, the tiny piece of modern magic. Eventually, scientists realized that giant wooden furniture was just way too bulky, so they invented the transistor to replace all those big hot glass tubes. These massive boxes shrank all the way down to the size of a paperback book. Teenagers could finally ditch the wall plug, stuff the tunes right in their pockets, and take loud new rock and roll all over the sunny beach, completely away from their parents' ears. The open road suddenly got a constant musical soundtrack because cars started getting dashboards with built-in receivers. Meanwhile, cheap plastic boxes were bringing vital knowledge about weather and farming over mountains and way out into hot, isolated deserts. Reaching the stars, leaving the blue sky. The crazy part? The signals absolutely did not stop at the sky. Scientists started pointing huge dishes out into the deep, mysterious quiet of space. They were literally mapping galaxies using these exact same invisible waves. And brave astronauts out on the lonely moon managed to connect 2 totally different worlds across all that black, empty space. So, Did big television sets ruin it all? You'd think so, right? Moving pictures rolled into happy homes, totally threatening to take over. But radio just learned a smart new trick, playing favorite songs and local news to keep people company in their fast cars. The modern magic, hiding inside shiny new toys. The magic just kept growing. It took Tesla and Marconi's early sparks and turned them into literally everything in our loud, modern world. Think about it. Your cell phone talking, the Wi-Fi bouncing data to your tablet, the satellites telling your lost car where to turn, they are all relying on the exact same old energy trick. Even when huge storms totally knock out city power, emergency workers grab tough radios. The absolute oldest trick is still the safest, most reliable tool in the total dark. How did we pull all this off? Simply by sharing the empty space. We rely on strict rules that split the air up so every single station runs smoothly without crossing over each other. We just hated feeling like we were stuck on lonely islands. That deep human desire to connect pushed this whole wild invention forward, turning the empty air into a crowded bridge. We simply hated the isolation and wanted to reach out as far as possible. It really leaves you wondering, if we managed to end the lonely silence between us just by sharing the exact same sky, what other invisible forces are sitting right in front of us right now just waiting for the next spark to be discovered? Keep chasing the wonder, guys. Drop a like, send this to a friend, and hit subscribe so we can uncover the next wild truth together.